Namaskaram. Welcome to yet another Story Saturday by Katha Mandalam with me, Anagha Prasad. Ni hao, ni hao. Sounds like meow. What are you saying? Is what you're asking, isn't it? Well, I'm saying hello, hello in Chinese. I'm here to tell you all a folk tale from China today. Moving out of India, probably folk tales from Asia is what I was thinking for this month of December. And this story I've heard around 6-7 years back, and it's been very close to my heart. So thought should share with you all. In this small kingdom in China, there lived a king. Of course, what are you trying to say? New is what you're trying to ask. But this king was old, and he did not have heirs to his kingdom. No children at all. And he was really worried. What will happen to my kingdom after I'm dead? And then he struck with a brilliant master plan. He called his ministers, told them his plan, and the next day, a lot of people from the palace went to different corners of the kingdom. Why? Well, this is what they said and did. Announcement from the king. Announcement from the king. All the boys of the kingdom, young up to 18 years, young up to 18 years, come to the palace tomorrow. Come to the palace tomorrow. What time? 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. Announcement from the king. Announcement from the king. And this is what they announced. Everybody were perplexed. Why should all the boys go? Is he going to punish them? Or is he going to reward them? What's going to happen? But all these small boys were very excited. I'm going to the palace. I'm going to the palace. I might get something from the king. But whatever it is, I'm going to see the palace and it's going to be amazing. And that night, the small little kids slept early and got up early in the morning and wore their nice clothes and went. 8 o'clock is what the king had told, isn't it? They were there by 5 o'clock. And they were all very disciplined, and they were standing in one long line. By the time it was 7:30, the king had gotten up, wore his beautiful red robe, a nice crown, adjusted his crown and his tiny mustache that he had, and came out to the big balcony in the palace, anticipating a few boys standing there. And what did the king see? Oh my God! The king could not reach the end of the queue. That's how long the queue was. He was quite excited. Amongst all of this, I'm sure I will find the heir of my kingdom. And he went and said, "Good morning, ni hao. You know why you're all here? Well, I'm going to give you all a small tiny gift. Better keep it as carefully as you can, protect it, nurture it, and come back to me after 6 months. Whoever has the best gift for me after 6 months, I shall declare them the king of the kingdom, my lawful heir." And all the kids were like super excited. I'm going to be the king. I'm going to be the king. But they didn't know what gift, right? The king sat there and distributed the gift to everyone. It was very tiring, but he said, "I'm going to do it. I don't want to give it to any of my ministers." And he gave the gift to everyone. And all the boys took the gift, and everybody's hand was like this as they walked away. Some kept it this way, some kept in one hand, some held it close to their heart, and they were walking. You must be wondering what gift is that, isn't it? Well, it was a tiny little seed that the king had given the boys. So the king had told that they have to nurture it. So that means they're going to get a plant, and whoever has the best plant will become the king. Well, heart and heart, all the children knew that Jun might be the winner because he was the best gardener in the whole kingdom. You would hardly find Jun on the streets playing with other children. His hands were always dirty. He would be under some tree, pulling out weeds, sowing seeds, pulling out the dried leaves, tending to his garden all the time. People would come to his house to take the fresh vegetables and fruits of the flowers that he grew. But all the kids decided we're going to try our level best. Jun also. He took that seed, looked at it very, very lovingly, went to his garden and saw and thought, that spot, that left corner, I'm going to sow it there. I think that's the right spot for the seed. And he went, dug with his small shovel, takatuku, 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 put the seed and slowly covered it with mud, poured water. And as he stabbed, it was all squishy quishy, and he waited. A week or two passed by. There was no sign of a tiny plant coming up. He wondered what happened. And he thought, okay, maybe this seed takes a longer time to sprout. And he waited for one more week. Nothing happened. And he thought, that corner doesn't have enough sunlight. Maybe that's the problem. And he took the seed from there and planted it right in the middle of his garden. Did the same thing. Dug, put it in, covered and poured some water. Waited for a week or two and nothing happened. And at the end of the second week, as he was in the garden looking at his seed, whether it's going to sprout, yay! Ha ha! He heard somebody shout. He went and saw it was this big boy from his village, whom all these small boys were scared of because he was kind of a bully, walking down saying, my seed is sprouted. I think I will be the king. I'm the first one whose seed is sprouted, said Chang. Jun looked at him and said, great, awesome. But Heart and Heart was wondering what happened to his seed. And from then onwards, every day, there was one or the other boy who was shouting saying, my seed has sprouted, my seed has sprouted, my seed has sprouted. 2-3 months passed by. Jun shifted the place of the seed 2 or 3 more times. Nothing happened to his seed. He was really worried. And the other plants had all grown up. Some were waist height, some were small, some were thick, some were growing tall, some had fruit, some had flowers. And Jun didn't know what to do, but he didn't stop working on his seed. He kept tending to it, waiting and hoping that someday it will sprout. And as he was doing this, 6 months passed by. And there were these men who came again and said, announcement from the king. Announcement from the king. Come to the palace tomorrow with your pots. Come to the palace tomorrow with your pots. Announcement from the king. Announcement from the king. They said and went, and all the children were super thrilled. They started washing their pots. Some colored it gold, some colored it silver, some made rainbow colors on it. They even sat and cleaned every leaf, every fruit so that it shines. And they hardly slept that night. Not just them, even their parents did not sleep. I'm going to be the dad and mom of the king. I might not have to work at all. And they were super thrilled. And next day, all the children, just like before, went early and stood in a line with their pots. And it was almost 7 o'clock. And Arjun sat at the end of his bed in the corner of his room with his head hung low. His mom came into the room and said, "Why don't you go?" "No, mummy. No, mama. How can I? You tell me, how can I? I have an empty pot. How can I show that to the king?" His dad also joined them in the room, and both the parents told him, "Well, did you look after the seed?" "Of course I did. Just like how you look after me. That was more like a child to me." Then what else? That's all is needed. You put your hard work, you put your determination, you had the conviction, and you did it. It did bear fruits. But don't let your hard work go waste. Go with that pot. Be proud of whatever you've done. "Are you sure that I should go with the empty pot?" "Of course. That's your fruit of the hard work. Just go with it," said his parents. Hesitantly, he picked up his pot and walked to the palace. "Look at that Jun. He's coming with an empty pot, and look at ours." What a boy he is. Can't he just sit at home? "Biggest gardener, greatest gardener," is what he was saying. Look at that, and said every child laughing and mocking at June. His head hung even lower. He couldn't meet anyone's eye, and he stood in the last in the queue with his empty pot. At 8 o'clock, the king came out and just walked past all the boys, just like how he would do inspecting in a parade. And the boys were so eager, showing the fruit, flower, green, light green, beautiful, is what they were explaining. The king just kept nodding and smiling and walking. As the king came towards Jun, he looked at the pot and said, "What? Where is your plant? You come with an empty pot to the king? What audacity do you have to do that?" Well, your majesty, I didn't want to come, but my parents told me that I have to because I really looked after the seed, your majesty. I'm not lying. I changed the position of the seed in my garden many times. I put fertilizer. I made sure there was enough sunshine and also enough shade so that it doesn't get burnt in the sun. But nothing happened, majesty. And I'm sorry that I'm here with an empty pot, unlike all these other boys who have come with wonderful plants for you. "I'm really sorry," he said, and just stood there. "Ha! You're sorry? Come with me," said the king. Jun was really scared. Is he going to get punished because he didn't have a plant? And all the other boys were talking to each other. "I think the king is going to punish him. He might be put into jail." And the king held Jun's hand and dragged him and took him to the balcony. And all the boys were looking. What is the king going to do to Jun? Is he going to push him from the balcony? Is he going to thrash him there in front of all of us? Oh my God. And they were all about to say, "King, don't do anything to Jun." And just then the king took Jun's hand, lifted it high and said, "He is my heir. He will be the next king." "What? How can he be the king? He didn't have a plant. He didn't do anything. He can't be the king. He had an empty pot." They were all discussing. And the king said, "Well, he did not have a plant because the seeds I gave were cooked, and I have no clue how you have plants." And that is the end of the folktale from China, The Empty Pot. Thank you all so much for very diligently listening to all my stories till now and encouraging me. And I have something to announce. I've been getting a couple of reviews and feedbacks from children who've been enjoying and narrating it in their own way. So if you or your child wants to narrate any of that story in your own way, in a short way, whatever you feel like, the stories which I have narrated till now, please do send me the video and I shall post it in my channel. Will you all do that? Amazing. Thank you all so much. Do spread the love of stories by sharing this to everyone you know. And I shall meet you all again next Saturday. Till then, ni hao, namaskaram.